leaders of tomorrow traveled to Dubai, the hub of opportunities, bringing out the top voices on the ground. In the week-long special, we will be featuring exclusive conversations with Arjun Mohan of Telr and Khalil Alami of Telr, two entrepreneurs from the Dubai region talking about starting small and scaling up. Then Dr. Thani Al-Zayudi, UAE's Minister for Foreign Trade, emphasized the UAE government's role in investing in Dubai. In the next episode, leaders of tomorrow took an overall insight of Dubai as a marketplace for ease of doing business through the panel discussion with Suresh Kumar of IBPC, Paras Shahdad Puri of Nikai Group, and Sanjeev Datta of DMCC. We spoke to Amit Damani of Damani Jewelers, a veteran in stones and diamonds, on SEPA. And we also took insights from Dr. Ibtisam Ibtisaki, focusing on public-private partnership opportunities that Dubai is offering. Tourism in Dubai being a major source of revenue, we interacted with key players from the hospitality space. Ranjit Philippos from Taj Hotels and Mads Wolf from 25 Hours. In the last episode, highlighting the beauty that Dubai offers for travelers all around the world.
5-year visas for entrepreneurs being ranked very highly when it comes to the ease of doing business anywhere in the world. These are just some of the measures being granted to small businesses and what makes Dubai a great place to set up and expand shop. Hello and welcome, I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan and you're joining us as part of this week-long showcase that we're doing live and exclusive from Dubai. Today, I'm in conversation with two entrepreneurs who talk to us about their entrepreneurial journey and what their advice is for businesses who are perhaps looking at setting up shop here. My first interview with Arjun Mohan of Telr. I'm also in conversation with the co-founder of Telr, talking about what it means to be a global giant in the fintech space based out of the Dubai region.
Telr, the largest heavy equipment rental marketplace in the Middle East, was founded by Arjun Mohan in 2018. The company raised $5.8 million seed investment from international investors in 2019 and has a fleet of more than 10,000 pieces of equipment and over 200 equipment types. Contractors rent construction equipment such as bulldozers, excavators and trucks from the marketplace and manage their projects using Telr's proprietary platform. In 2020, Telr launched its operations in Saudi Arabia and has plans of further expansion very soon.
Arjun, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow as part of this special series that we're doing, talking about entrepreneurs like yourself. People who've gained traction, people who've grown, about why this market is so good, why the Dubai UAE market is so important, but equally important as to how you've managed to grow in the very short time that you have. So thanks for speaking with us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You have a very interesting story, and in just 4 years of setting up your business, you've managed to achieve the kind of scale that you have. My first question before we talk about Dubai as a market, before we talk about your business, is to try and understand really what your business does. Very briefly, yours is a B2B business. What would you like to tell our viewers about your business?
So Telr is a platform for managing equipment. We work with the construction sector, the logistics sector, the energy sector, and all these sectors use a lot of heavy equipment to run their operations. We provide them an online platform to manage all these equipment using data-driven technologies and IoT sensors.
Okay, so are you someone who loves challenges? Because I know this industry, like in India, is very fragmented, and you've chosen to take this on and sort of bring everything together through using technology.
Well, I didn't think it would be this challenging when I started, but it ended up
Would you have become an entrepreneur in this space at all if you knew before you started?
It really wasn't part of my intentional plan.
Okay.
But the stars aligned, and this was the opportunity that I was given.
Okay.
And I also observed this problem, firsthand. So that's why I dove into this space. But I like it because there's a white space. Like there's no other company, especially in this part of the world, servicing the sector. So we have a white space to really create improvement. And it's an orbital shift and increase in value because you're taking something from offline to online, and that creates a lot of value for all stakeholders. That's what really motivates us.
Okay, so you're an accidental entrepreneur?
I would say, yes, a series of accidents, but definitely intentional at the same time in terms of sticking to it and trying to create value for our stakeholders.
Okay. What has helped you achieve the kind of success that you have in the very short time that you've set up Tendered? And what part of it would you perhaps attribute to the fact that you're here in Dubai and, sort of helping you and easing the journey perhaps?
I think the market ecosystem here in the UAE is super helpful.
Okay.
UAE is not a huge country in terms of geography, but like 10% of all global goods go through the UAE in logistics. In construction, the density of construction in UAE is more than any other country in the world. When it comes to energy, you have ADNOC and other national oil companies here in this region that are some of the largest in the world as well. So I think the sectors we focus on, there's a huge presence and a huge concentration in this region. Okay. And the market is a free market. It really promotes companies working with each other. You can work with anybody here, SMBs as well as the government.
Great.
So it's been a great place for us.
Okay. As India's largest daily TV show that speaks with SMBs, my question is, why have you looked at the B2B space? And what perhaps have been your biggest challenges for someone who's watching this interview, who's also maybe not necessarily in this industry, but doing B2B? What have your learnings been?
I think in B2B, you can be a lot more structured.
Okay.
And I'm not a very structured person, but I like the organization to have structured processes in terms of, meeting a client, showing them value, creating a proposal, and then giving them that solution and giving that aftercare after they've already been a customer and expanding within that account. I think the B2B space is a lot more structured, and we are able to see immediate value we are able to give our customers. And I think that's why we chose the B2B space as opposed to a B2C space, which is, I would say, a lot less structured in terms of acquiring users and creating value there.
Dubai as a marketplace, I'd really want to understand from you in terms of being business friendly. We've been speaking with a lot of different experts as part of this week-long special series that we're doing. And one of it has been trying to understand also the ecosystem for businesses. So in terms of, say, taxation, in terms of just helping businesses to set up and, do their business without any problems, how has this perhaps process been, and what are your views really on that?
Well, being completely candid, in the beginning it was a little bit challenging, but over the last 3 years, we have seen massive change in how companies operate and set up in the UAE. So like business licenses are super easy, they're super economical, tax is also quite low, it's only 5% VAT. Sure. So the ecosystem has become super business friendly over the last 2-3 years for any company or entrepreneur who wants to set up.
One part perhaps that I can also attribute to the kind of success that you've had is also the funding that you've received. And I noticed that how easy or difficult was it to convince investors to put money into this business? And based on that experience, what can you tell our viewers about perhaps the advice that you might have for them about fundraising?
I think when it comes to funding, there's been a big change, a transformation over the last 3 years, especially with COVID. Okay. I think it's a more global world. Investors are more open to investing in outside the US or outside of Europe. Sure. So I think entrepreneurs have more opportunities to go to more investors. Right now, there is a contraction in the VC environment, but I don't think it's going to be permanent. Okay. And I do feel VC investors are looking at opportunities globally now, much more than before. Okay. So I think there's a huge opportunity when it comes to fundraising for entrepreneurs. And the most important thing when it comes to fundraising is going back to what is your business doing, and are you doing that well? So essentially traction. So are you actually delivering what your goal is? Sure. And if you're able to do that, I think you should be able to attract investors, of course.
How do you view the Indian market when it comes to your industry?
I think the Indian market is very strong. I think the Indian market is, especially over the last 1 year, we've seen strong growth, and everybody's kind of paying attention to the Indian market.
One aspect of what you do at the business, of course, is also understanding the power of data. And for an entrepreneur who's watching today's interview, for your industry, what does that mean when it comes to One, the kind of services you offer to your clients and your customers. What can you tell us about your approach to data? And for SMBs which are watching this interview, how should they be looking at this data that they're sitting on?
Well, the equipment was all managed using paper before, paper logs, physically, people writing information on the equipment, doing operations.
Okay.
So there's no digital footprint of any of this data on how equipments are being utilized on site. So with our technology, we are capturing this data in real time and creating this data bank that never existed before.
Okay.
So this data bank informs us how machines work with each other, what are the patterns, what are the anomalies, and this enables our clients to make data-driven decisions that help them reduce cost, increase production, and also tap into new business opportunities that they never had before because their equipment is performing 10x better than it used to before.
I want to talk about also regulation when it comes to how data can be stored and used. What is it like in Dubai, UAE, and how do companies like yours then work with that?
A lot of the companies we work with, they have very confidential data and they don't want this to be shared.
Yeah.
And we actually have servers set up here in UAE soil, as well as in Saudi on Saudi soil and other markets we operate in. So all the data we collect in these markets are actually stored within the geography.
Okay.
We do have a microservices architecture for our software platform, and that is hosted on our servers. But the data that we collect is always stored within the geographies to help with compliance and also make sure that this data is never leaked to anybody else.
All right, Arjun. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. All the very best, and perhaps see you in India very soon. Wishing you all the best for that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and it was a pleasure talking to you.
I'm going to slip into a short break. On that note, on the other side, we're in conversation with Telr, talking, amongst other things, about what it means to be a global fintech major based out of here. I'm talking talent, I'm talking everything else related to this market. So don't go anywhere. We're back in just a moment. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. My second conversation tonight is with Telr, talking to the CEO and co-founder about what it means to be a global fintech major, why Dubai is a great place for them to do business, and also what their future expansion plans are looking like.
Telr was founded with a mission to enable e-commerce in emerging markets in 2014. With over 20 years of experience in payments technology, they built a payments platform from the ground up to meet the needs of businesses in emerging markets. Their 100% proprietary technology, feature-rich payment solution has been built completely in-house, making it highly customizable. They offer a set of AIPs and tools that enable businesses to accept and manage online payments via web, mobile, and social media. Telr designs their payment services and solutions to specifically cater to the needs of startups and SMEs.
Thank you so much for speaking with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow as part of this special series that we're doing, talking about innovation. And we, of course, are speaking with entrepreneurs who are doing something different and exciting and innovative. And who better than to speak about innovation when it comes to the fintech and the BFSI space in this region?
Our pleasure.
Than yourself.
You're most welcome.
Absolutely. So much has changed, so much is changing in India, and so much is changing here also in this market. Let's start with your entrepreneurial journey before we talk about the market. What led you to setting up this business?
So Telr started in 2014. We saw a need that, online payments, all the startups and the SMEs in this region, if they needed to accept payments online, they had to go and look outside of this region to get solutions from the UAE, from the Europe, from different places. So we thought that we needed a local, customizable, localized payment gateway, and that's where the idea came from, and that's where Telr innovated and we fully developed our in-house proprietary online payment gateway that is non-standardized. It can be fully localized and fully customized to the needs of the startups, SMEs, governments, large corporates, anybody that wants a payment from this region.
So when you're saying fully customized to the SMBs and the startups that are based in this region, what are perhaps those one or two key challenges that you're seeing that you are then solving?
So Telr is an award-winning payment gateway. So we've won many awards as a startup. And the customization comes from, like I said, it's a fully proprietary technology. So we own the code. We've built it ourselves. So when we talk to startups and SMEs, we see that a lot of them need their own customized payment journey. They have their own unique selling point. They have their own unique way of talking to the customer experience. So being cloud-based and owning that code and having our own tech team within the company, we are able to fully customize that to them at actually zero cost to the customer. And that's really where the power comes in. And coupled with being able to process over 120 currencies, or supporting over 30 languages, and we have a full suite of supporting services coming all with that as value-added services, and that's where the power lies in.
Okay, let's talk about the fintech market here in the Dubai UAE region. How has it changed since when you started out to where it's at?
Okay, great. Well, that's a very good question. So we've been very lucky, and I think we were good to choose UAE as our base, as our home base. The UAE is benefits from it's a mix of factors of things. First, the young generation. That makes it more tech-savvy generation. Mobile penetration is over 100%. Internet penetration is close to 100%, a little bit less than that. And that creates a consumer dynamic where the consumer is more open to new products, new trends, and so far, and so forth. And with that, we were able to push cashless payments, mobile payments, online payments. And with the vision that the government has to go towards cashless payments, that also supported this whole thing. So that's the reason why we started here. And then after that, Dubai has become in the top 10 fintech hubs around the world. And there's a lot of initiatives from the government, from the quasi-government, that support startups and SMEs.
Okay, so then looking forward perhaps into the next 4 or 5 years, I know this is a marketing industry that's changing so much, but are there any key trends that you'd like to call out in this space?
Key trends, to be honest with you, if you want to compare it to India, India is a very sophisticated, advanced market in fintech. It's much more advanced than anywhere else that I've seen. So we are following trends that are, with our market. They're customized to our market. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create this one-stop shop for our merchant to go from offline to online, or from online to enhance his online presence.
So, we're talking about how the market has changed in the past couple of years, but looking ahead, any couple of key trends that you would want to call out for our viewers to say this is how the fintech market is moving?
Sure, yeah. I mean, the fintech market is always evolving, and new trends are always coming up. We've seen the new buy now, pay later trend come in, and that's when we introduced about a year and a half ago our Telr buy now, pay later service. We've also introduced a new trend where we saw post-pandemic a lot of businesses that might need working capital, and that's when we launched Telr Finance as well. Where we extend working capital loans to our merchants in order for them to continue to flourish. This is on the merchant side. On the flip side, also from a regulation perspective, we see a lot of changes in the regulations. A lot of this was an unregulated market. Now it's moving towards regulation. So the regulator is introducing new regulations for the payments industry.
I noticed that quite a large percentage of your employees, we are shooting here in your office in Dubai, seem to be Indian. Is this true of all the multiple locations that you have? And also, what can you tell us about the availability of skilled manpower for an industry which is so highly skilled and technical like yours?
Telr, we have 4 offices around the world. We have an office in Singapore, we have an office in Mumbai, India, we have an office here in Dubai, and we have an office in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Indian talent is quite talented and quite skilled, as you know. So we have about 75%, I would say, of our employees are of Indian descent. But the skill, the availability there's an abundance. There's quite a good skill over there.
Okay. So, continuing with talking about India, I want to talk about the investment from Cash Free.
Sure.
Anyone familiar with the India market will know that, their Indian association in roots. What was that like for you, and why was it essential, perhaps, for you to have a partner like them on board?
Listen, we're very grateful for the Cash Free investment.
Yeah.
It was quite important. It came at the right time. Cash Free is an online payment gateway company from India, as you know. Yeah. They have superior technology and great knowledge in the industry. So they add a lot of value to Telr and to and our journey. And with that investment, we're going to utilize it in order to do two things. One, expand in the region to target more markets outside of Dubai and Saudi Arabia, where we are currently live. And at the same time, build together that bridge between the two regions, between India and the UAE and the whole region, in order to enable merchants in India to accept payments and so forth.
Okay. Anything that you'd want to advise someone who's watching today's interview to say, I wish I knew this about fundraising before I started, so here's my advice for you?
One thing that I would advise people or entrepreneurs to look out for. Make sure that the people that you end up accepting their investment, there's synergy, there's value-added services. It's not just about the money. You want to look at the long term and the exit strategy and all of that.
Khalil, such a pleasure talking to you. Wishing you all the very best. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Out of time on today's conversation. We hope you've enjoyed being a part of the showcase here, joining you from the Leaders of Tomorrow Dubai series. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. We hope you've enjoyed listening to both the entrepreneurs who joined us as part of this week-long showcase from the Dubai UAE market. Thanks for watching.